you tell I'm in denial?
You can't stay at the top forever.
I was also very surprised when I looked at my phone and saw Joe Girardi dismissed.
Well, I think mine were with common sense.
I think now belongs in the all-time greats top 10.
Boston, I really think only got to this point because of a guy named Chris Middleton being out for the Bucks.
That power play just was unbearable. It was humming.
Man, am I happy. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew he was going to come back.
When I think of New York Yankees now, it's Judge. Probably people in the past when Jeter was coming up.
I would be shocked. A little bit hurt.
Hey, this is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, TexasFootball.com, and Valley Sports Southwest. You are listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. And the awards are all done. And the man that I will be speaking about the awards, and I think he did pretty well in his predictions, Austin.
Yeah, I don't think predictions were all that difficult this year, but yeah, we can go over them and kind of discuss them. But I thought the awards did a good job.
Yeah, my only problem is Clutch Player of the Year, but I don't know if that's like a major award.
Yeah, I don't know if it should have been Curry. We can start with that one. That was Stephen Curry that won it, but it's not an award that changes his legacy or something like that. So
Yeah,
I think it's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah, to me, I just don't view it much as an award. It's just kind of one of those awards. Oh, they do have the Hustle Award. I remember making fun of that last year.
Oh, who won the Hustle Award?
Caruso. Which
that checks out.
It checks out. I think last year was Marcus Smart, and he was a reigning guy that won it a lot. So we'll check in on that. We'll save MVP for last. I liked. So Maxey won Most Improved Player, which we argued for. I did like the arguments around it. There was a guy in our comments who I appreciated talking about Colby White, and I think I saw a stat Maxey was a guy who had averaged 20 the year prior and still won Most Improved Player. But I still think he deserved it. But I did like the discussions around Colby White. And I can't remember who the third person was. I'm trying to see.
Yeah, I don't remember who the third person was either, but I do think that Kobe White would have been deserving. But
Sengun was third.
Oh, but Sengun got hurt at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So Sengun was another guy that could have been up for it. I don't think this is the strongest Most Improved Player class. Kobe White, I think last year still averaged 12? Let me see.
Yeah, I think
he averaged. No, he averaged 9.7 last year, but the year before that he averaged 12.7. The year before that he averaged 15.1. This year he did average 19, so he went from 9.7 to 19. The problem is that it really was just his percentages didn't go up. His field goal percentage went from 44.3 to 44.7. His three-point percentage went from 37.2 to 37.6, and his free throw percentage went down. So it's mainly just he was taking a lot more shots. While with Maxey, I believe this is his most efficient season. I will fact check that. Oh no, his percentage actually went down a little bit too. So I don't know. It's just that Maxey's team actually made the playoffs, and without him, they lost Embiid, and without him, he was their best player for 2.5 months of the season, and the best player on a playoff team versus Kobe White, who's still below DeMar DeRozan on the depth chart. When they need a shot, I don't know. I think Kobe White, if he had won it, I wouldn't have been mad.
Yeah,
but I do think it's kind of a weaker Most Improved Player class.
Yeah, I agree. And my reasoning for Maxey was kind of the role he took on. He became that second guy. And while his percentages did go down, he took that major leap of being that role guy, of going from a third option to second primary option when Embiid was out. And he still played well, even though he wasn't exactly efficient. To me, that was what made him the Most Improved Player. Was more of the role he took in that offense.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing to say.
But yeah, I wouldn't have been annoyed or upset if Kobe White won. I thought it was a great discussion. Next, Mark Deno. I think you had picked him, right? I had picked Jamal Mosley.
Yeah, I picked Mark Daniel, and I think he deserves it after being the 1 seed. Many people did not expect the Thunder to be the 1 seed. They were the 8 seed last year. Great improvement, and yeah, I was very impressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm not against it. I thought Jamal Mosley did better, but yeah, he did get the number 1 seed in a stacked Western Conference and a very young team. Next, we'll go. I think Naz Reid. I do believe he was deserving of being nominated for the Sixth Man of the Year. It's just I think even
This
with
is the worst one for me because I definitely don't believe that he should have ended up getting it.
I think it still should have gone to Malik Monk. I know he got injured, but still, he was the six-man leader, and there were only a few games left. I do love Naz Reid, and I think he's a great player off the bench. It's just to me the injury to Malik Monk didn't really hurt his case for me.
Yeah, I mean, Malik Monk still played 71 games, Kevin. That's a lot of games. And Naz Reid's best contribution was as a starter. It wasn't as a six man. It was after Cat got hurt. So I definitely believe that Monk should have won it. Naz Reid had a great season, so seeing him getting it isn't necessarily like a bad thing, but I definitely do believe that Monk was more deserving. This is probably the only one that I'm like actually completely against. But it's not like the end of the world.
Yeah. And then this is the one I'll take the L on. I had picked oh shoot. Why am I forgetting his number 0 on the Trailblazers? The point guard. Oh, Scoot Henderson. Because I thought Wembanyama wasn't going to be it. But if Wembanyama, I was betting on the numbers or like games played, which I'll take the L on that. I'll wear that one. But Wembanyama was healthy and he absolutely deserves this award. He was a unanimous winner, which is amazing. He was in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. This is what we expected. If everything went right, I was betting on everything not going right. So he definitely deserves it. And yeah, unanimous, that shows there's nothing. This is kind of one of the better Rookie of the Year campaigns where I'm like, yeah, he definitely deserves that.
Yeah, I thought so as well. I mean, I thought it before the year, and I predicted he'd play at least 65, and he ended up playing 71. He played great, and yeah, there's not much. I mean, Chet had a great year, but Wemby was just so amazing. And we go to Defensive Player of the Year. Rudy Gobert, the Timberwolves defense was so good this year. Like, I understand the whole, like, the Spurs defense was bad and Wemby made it good or made it okay. But the Timberwolves defense, I think we're seeing this now in the Nuggets series. I know it's a regular season award, but the Timberwolves defense has improved so much. And Rudy Gobert being impactful as he is, I think this was the right choice.
Yes, I agree it was the right choice. I brought up Wembanyama. I think a player can be in conversations about like, yes, he should be in contention for this award, but I can view him like he is a possibility. Do I think he should win it? No. And that's how I felt about Wembanyama. Because he was such a great defensive presence. But when you look at Rudy Gobert, he kind of returned to form and he brought back. This is what the Timberwolves expected when they made that gigantic trade that I clowned them for with Rudy Gobert in sending all those picks. Their defense looks amazing. Rudy Gobert is back. I'm really curious to see how this plays out in the playoffs and just kind of the differences between this team and the Jazz team when they face the Mavs. So, but yeah, he absolutely deserves it. He is a great defensive player. I know he kind of gets hated on for the type of player he is. He's not a great offensive player, but defensively, he's just amazing.
Yeah, and I definitely think they made the right choice.
Yeah. And then now I believe we're an MVP. Oh, we'll go Executive of the Year, Brad Stevens.
Checks out.
Yeah, it checks out. Like, he built such a great roster with all the players. I don't know how he did it. So, yeah, that's fair. I wonder who was the other. What were the other teams or other? I'm trying to see the voting. Sam Presti was up there. He was second. Tim Connolly from Minnesota. He was going to be who I mentioned as well because of what he did with the Rudy Gobert trade and what the Minnesota was competing for the number one seed in the West. I also like to give some love to Nico Harrison, given the moves he made with like PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. But he's definitely not as high as Sam Presti with all his picks. I actually would kind of Tim Connolly maybe over OKC for Minnesota, given the moves starting to work out with the Rudy Gobert trade.
I possibly could see that.
But yeah, I don't disagree with Brad Stevens. His total points were 101. Sam Presti was at 47, and he was the second guy. Which is
I think Brad Stevens still deserved it.
Oh yeah. We should maybe do a video on Brad Stevens sometime. Because the way he went from, like, in my opinion, maybe a mediocre coach. Like, he was an okay coach. And we thought he should be fired, but instead he got promoted to basketball operations. And the team has great players ever since.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, now we'll get to the MVP. This actually kind of went the way I wanted it to, because I knew there was no real chance of Luka. So I wanted Luka to get motivation, which it seems like he did as we're recording after game 2. Jokic definitely deserved to win the MVP. My only problem is with Shea getting 2 and the number of votes versus Luka.
I know we have friends that would disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
And some that would agree with you on that Shea should have been below Luka, but it's really close. I understand why, because they get the number 1 seed, and Shea had an amazing season. But at the end of the day, all that mattered to me was that Jokic won it because he deserved it more than anyone.
Yes, he absolutely deserved it. And you and I have had conversations about this. To me, Luka should have been in the conversation. However, Jokic was incredible. And I think just because Luka, of course, is getting numbers similar to Westbrook and Harden when they won MVP. But like I've said to you, and I don't know if I've said it on recording, but I don't think there were other players playing at this type of level during those MVP cases. Where
that's completely fair.
So Jokic absolutely deserved it. My only problem was first place votes. If you're looking at it, Jokic got 79, Shea got 15, and then Luka only got 4. I would have wanted him closer in the 10 to 15 range. It makes it look like Luka really shouldn't have been competing for number 1 against Shea, which is my problem. However, it goes to the winner. Jokic absolutely deserved it. And he gets his 3rd MVP, which he deserved.
Yeah. Who else got number 1 first votes? Because I know some other people had to have gotten it.
So Giannis is the only other guy, and he got 1 first place vote.
Okay.
Luka got, a lot of 3rd place votes. But yeah. So yeah, overall, good set of awards. My only thing came in like the 2nd and 3rd voting. So that's my view of it. But overall, good. No complaints. Naz Reid is the shocking one to me. I still think it should have gone to Malik Monk, even though he is a great player. I just, like you mentioned, the games. I think he got injured maybe the week before the season ended, maybe 2 weeks. So that's my thinking. But any final thoughts before we close this out?
No, I like the majority of the awards. I think they did a good job this year. At least, maybe you may not like the order of them, like for MVP, seeing Shea above Luka. But at the end of the day, Luka was never going to win MVP, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they got the winners, like the people that deserved it.
Yeah,
most of the time. They didn't get the exact total tier right, but yeah, getting the number 1 guy is easier.
I think that's by far the more important thing.
Yeah, it's the more important thing.
You don't get an award for 2nd place.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I think that's a great way of saying it. And yeah, let us know if you disagree. Do you think someone else should have gotten it? We appreciate you listening, and thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.